Hello, my name is Miss Cervantes. I am a student teacher and I wanted to take a moment to highlight an educational tool that I recently used that I really liked. Of course, as educators, we are always striving to find ways to improve our classroom for our students, or for me, my soon to be classroom. The tool I'm going to be highlighting today is called Quizlet. Its core feature is to allow users to make flashcards, therefore making it an easy to use study tool for a variety of class subjects or students of different ages. Now, Quizlet is an older tool. It has been around for years now, but they recently have made some pretty teacher-friendly updates that I wanted to share with you. First, I wanted to say it's pretty easy to make an account. You can try the free trial. There is a plus version. The version I'm going to show with you is what it looks like when you have the free trial. So this is what it looks like on my home screen. Let's go ahead and navigate. I'll navigate the home screen with you first. So at the top here, you can see a couple of the flashcards I've most recently looked at. You could see that this is a flashcard set one of my students has made, and then these are flashcard set that I have made, and then I'll explain why I have this up here in a moment. As you continue to scroll down, oops, I need to go back, click something. Let's stay on the home page, on the home screen. As I scroll down, you'll be able to see the classes I have. For me, in my student teaching, I have just 2 periods right now that I'm actively taking part in. So here's my period 8 English class and my period 6 English class. One of the nice things that you can see right here very easily is how many students have been successfully added to each class, and it's quite easy to access from here. As I continue to scroll, there's some different activities I could play with students if I wanted to open this up on my smartboard to them. One is called Blast. It's a competitive game in which students destroy the most correct answer before time's up. So this one emphasizes speed and memory a bit more than maybe accuracy, or allowing students to take a little bit more time really learning that content. But then you also see another game here called Categories, a multiplayer trivia game in which students answer questions on your material. This is really great. I love that they offer multiplayer games that you can actually divide students up into teams, small groups, depending on how the layout is. If students are sitting at a table, having them divided to do a game like this for their study materials is, I think, a great option. As I scroll down further, you can see that I have an option here to generate a study guide, or I could even upload a file, maybe a Google Doc with information, and it'll actually generate some sort of flashcard, or maybe even, and it gives me the option if I want to do a flashcard set, a study guide, or a practice test. Now, one of the benefits of a tool that has been around a little bit longer is that it already has a lot of material that is accessible for students and teachers alike, that other users have already published. So right away on your home screen, you could see maybe you could take a look at some. It'll auto generate this for you at the beginning, but the more you use it, the more it will generate and cater towards your particular grade level, subject, things of that nature. You can see that the ones that are created by teachers are clearly labeled teacher, and one of the nice things is that you can actually find a lot of pre-existing flashcards and tools, so you might not necessarily have to go in and make them from the start already, from the beginning, from scratch, so to speak. So that's really nice, and some of them do get very specific. And there's just so much to choose from because this tool has been already around for several years. Now, This next part is a Quizlet Plus feature. So as you can see, it's got links here, some clicks to textbooks. Essentially, this is a newer thing that I've seen where it appears that they've now downloaded textbooks and they will have this verified check mark next to them, and you can actually access study material for these specific textbooks. So that's great. Even though I'm sure there's not too many textbooks accessible on here, if it's within the budget, it's possible. It's very possible that a pre-existing textbook or a textbook similar to the subject you're teaching, there might be study materials already accessible on there. So definitely worth checking out if that is something that, if you're a class for a teacher that's very closely using a textbook, definitely worth it to just do a quick search and see if they have any existing materials on that specific textbook, or one that's similar, possibly maybe an older edition, things like that. And then right here, what I like is the top creators. While this is nice, it also gives you a chance to follow or keep track of other teachers' materials, maybe the teachers you work with. Just share them and make them very easily accessible from there as well. I'm going to show you quickly the Generate a Study Guide section. So I already had to move something there. I already have some flashcards that I am ready to submit for my English class. So right here are just some quick key terms with a definition and a sentence. I'm going to go ahead and see how this populates for me. If I don't do anything, I could go in there and try to fix it a little bit, but let's take a look, just quick look-see to see how it populates for me. I would like to create flashcards. Oops, I accidentally did a study guide. Well, we'll see how that comes out. And this is for, I'm right now doing a unit on the Hunger Games with my students, and this is some of the vocabulary that students will be seeing in the next chapter they will be reading next week. So this is really nice. So it's just for the study guide, it just lists what I put, populates it into one form. I could print this out and share this with the class, or I could just easily share it with them on Canvas, or just point out to them that they have access to them on Quizlet if they wanted to use materials that I've already created for them. So let's go to my library now. So as you can see here, I have two classes that I've already started some flashcard sets for. You can go flashcard sets and you can see what I've made. And then you could also, it'll also show me any practice tests, study guides, or even folders that I've created. Now, to make the flashcards, it's quite easy. It's really quite simple. I just showed you how to do the auto-generate study guide. If you wanted to make it yourself, you just go up here to this blue check mark. And as you could see, when I hover over it, it says create. So if I wanted to make it myself, I didn't want to do that auto-populate version, I could do this instead. And again, I have those options to create a study guide, a practice test, or a flashcard set. Say here, I'd like to go ahead and do the flashcard set, and I'd like to create them myself. Now here, what I can do is add to my title, I can instruct students to add their first and last name. That way I can clearly see who's doing what, and then I can label it as needed. I prefer to label it in the title section, and I'll explain why in a second, but you can always add more to the description. Hunger Games, chapter 15, vocab words. And let's go ahead and just say I'm making my new flashcard set from scratch, and I wanted to teach students the word vigilance. as you can see, it already has an AI tool working within it that auto-populates some possible words you're trying to say. And what's interesting is that it also auto-populated a definition for me. So if I found any of these definitions close enough to what it is that I want students to know, I can click this. Now, because for me personally, I don't want students to just have AI definitions all the time, maybe I'll make it a little bit harder for them and I'll say, yes, label it with the definition. But maybe I'll go ahead and I'll add something and say, but I'd also like you to come up with your own sentence using the word vigilance. And then that way they have a little bit more context to how to use this word. And it's not just purely a memory game. Another thing that I like about these flashcards is that you can add an image. So I think some of these pictures are really funny. Maybe I could add this image of the vigilante dog, the vigilant dog, keeping close eye on things. And you just go from there, and you could do it individually that way as well. Quite easy. And when you're done, you click create. Oh, it says I need to create at least 2 cards. Thank you. I think for now, I'm just going to skip. I don't want to add anything yet. I'm just going to go back. But there we go. You see that there's my draft. Very convenient. Now what I wanted to focus more so on is this hover menu over here to the side that says your classes. So very easy to use this. You could just go to add new class and label it whatever is your class's subject. Just say I'm doing a new flashcard set for a new class, American Literature, period 5. And create class. Now, this is the part that I really, really like. Sometimes with some of these educational tools, we run into problems where maybe we give students the links to access their tools, but for whatever reason, they're having trouble logging in. It becomes very time consuming. It gets confusing. Thankfully, I haven't encountered any issues like that with Quizlet. And I did try initially for this particular vocab lesson. I did try a couple other tools and I was running into that problem where the teacher version just looked so different from the student version, and it makes it difficult for me to see what it's going to look like on their end. So something that I really like about Quizlet is that the teacher's end and the student's end will look very, very similar. So essentially, let's just go to my period 8 class here. For my period 8, there's a couple different ways I can share the link with them here to be able to make their Quizlet. I can invite them with Google, I can invite them by email, or I can just share with them a quick link, maybe add it to an assignment on Canvas. We use Canvas, and I could just write up my description of what I'm doing today. We're going to be making study tools using Quizlet. Here's the link to access them through Quizlet. All my students were able to make their free account fairly easily with their school email. And as you can see down here, these are the flashcards that my students have already made. And I asked them to label it with their first and last name. That way I can see who did what. And then I'm going to go back to my library, show you my flashcards. So here are some that I made with students. Now, if I wanted to practice these flashcards with my class, I have a couple of different options, and this is where I really like some of the things Quizlet is now doing with students. I could actually play a game with students, present this on a smart board, and I could do a Quizlet Live. Just go ahead and click that really quick. So as you can see, it allows me to randomize them into teams if I wanted to, or select individual students. Quizlet Live is an in-class game that teachers can use to review. The game randomly starts students, as you can see here, into teams. If a team answers wrong, they actually have to start from the beginning. So you can see that this tool values accuracy over speed. And let's just go ahead and let's just dive in one step further so you can see what that looks like. Let's say that I have decided all my students have gained access into my Quizlet Live or my Quizlet link, and they've been successfully added to the class they are a part of. And now they have made their flashcards and I want them to review it as a class. I get to choose how I want the flashcards to be presented. And now you get to the home screen that looks like this. So now all students need is the link here as well and this code. So for them, when they click on that Quizlet Live on their end, they could type in this code and it should add them to the class here and their names will start appearing, and I could quite easily see once everybody's been logged in, I can go ahead and move forward with creating the game. And I would click that button there. Obviously, I can't go any further because I don't have any students logged in with the live right now. So we're going to quit the game. I'm just going to briefly point out a couple other things I really liked about Quizlet. They have games and activities like the Blast that I mentioned on the home screen. They have a match game. I'm going to open that one up. And yes, I'm ready to start this game. So one of the things I really like about these different games is that it allows you the opportunity to differentiate how you want to review with your class. For example, while the traditional flashcards are a great way for reviewing, some students might prefer the matching option, or they might learn more from filling in the blank or taking a practice test. I found that for students who really like maybe working with a partner, the matching seemed to be a really great option. And then you can see that there's a timer there, and it'll tell me if I'm getting it wrong, right. Oops, I'm not really doing it correctly right now, but you get the idea. So I'm going to go ahead and exit from this. And then I just want to quickly mention some of the other games. They also have a game called Blocks and Blast. This one's more for speed, but they're all really fun. I like that you can also just do a regular test as well. So we're going to dismiss. So let's just say I wanted the test to be populated with all of these options, a test that has true and false, multiple choice, matching, and written sections. And then I could select which slide of the flashcard I would like to have students answer. So maybe I'd like them to know the definition or have that sentence that they're practicing in my class's case. And then we would go ahead and we would auto-populate that test. So that quiz. So Inferno, a large dangerous fire, true. Unrequited, not returned or reciprocated, true. And so on, so on. You could see how the multiple choice would look. And then here you could see how you might want to match. So it's a combination. So what's really nice about the test option is you get a little bit of everything. So let's see what we have here. The words we have: subtly and imprudent. Let's see, I should be able to move this quite easily. Oops, that didn't go where I wanted to. My clicker seems to be working here. I'm trying to show how easy this is, and I'm not successful at it, but that's okay. It's quite easy. I see what I was doing wrong. I've done this where it's actually 4 and I've been able to drag it. Okay, so it goes by whichever one you click first, that's the one that'll pop up there first. So for subtly, I would go not sharing, care, or the consequences of action, unwise, or would I put the quality of being delicate or difficult to detect? I would go this answer for that question, that answer for that. And then this is great. You can actually have students type their answer, their definition. For me, I would probably want students to type the sentence for a vocabulary word, make sure that they're getting that practice of using it correctly in a sentence. What I like to do with some of my students was actually give them time to hear the word out loud. You could do this. You could actually do the audio for the words. I liked this because, and you could do it if you go back to the setting when they're creating their flashcards and they're just doing the traditional flashcard setting. This every single flashcard gives them this option to do where they can actually hear the audio of how the word is correctly being pronounced. I really like that, especially for ELLs or any students that have an IEP that maybe an audio additional support might help. And then I also like that Quizlet makes it very convenient for teachers if they wanted to print this and give it to students as a test as well. They could do that. Obviously, I think for one like the matching, I would have to take out probably the matching if I wanted to print this. That might not print very well, but I think the multiple choice and true or false are really great options if I just wanted to go ahead and print this quickly out. And there I go. There I would have a vocab quiz all set. Activate a student pass is an interesting little feature as well. Essentially, you share this code with students and they get access to whatever you've just created for 90 minutes to study. So that's another interesting way they could use it. But yeah, that's Quizlet. My students, when I put them in partners and had them after they made their flashcards and they got to work together in groups or in pairs to review their cards, review the sentences they created, practice speaking them, and actually getting to share what their definition was. It was quite enjoyable. Doing the Quizlet live together was also quite nice. And then just from a teacher standpoint, as far as adding their grades, making sure that they get credit, it was really easy for me to look at who actually did what, how many students completed all 12 terms. This one's interesting. I think they accidentally added their flashcard set to another flashcard set that they already had made for another class. So this is one where we could see that they got a little confused, but for the most part, every other student did not. And basically, it's very easy for me to just look, did they check it, give them that credit. Maybe for this one that only did 5, I would give her half credit unless there's some kind of specific circumstance why she couldn't complete. And it's very, very easy. I've noticed with some other tools, sometimes it's hard for the teacher to see what the student did inside their tool on their end. But for me, it populates really nicely. To ensure that the students' flashcards do show up on my screen, you do have to instruct them that after they create, they click up here and they want to click add to class. And then I would go ahead and choose, they should be able to choose which period they should be added to. So this one's part of my period 6. I should probably label that a little bit better. And then another thing I really like is this option that says you can view class progress. That's a Quizlet Plus option, but it's still a great option nonetheless. Well, anyways, that's my breakdown of Quizlet. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely a great tool for students and teachers alike. Very easy. There's some good options there. It's definitely worth it for a quick, easy way to review some new words with students for at least for the English subject before maybe they're gonna get the content and read it in the book like we did for the Hunger Games. I wanted to preview the words with them before they came alive in the story. And students seem to really like this tool. They enjoyed making the cards, they enjoyed playing these games, and essentially by the end of the day, we were able to take a quiz. Of course, if you want to give them more time, and of course, that's always an option as well. But for us, we were able to get it all done in one period, which is really great. Anyways, thank you. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was a helpful demonstration. And I hope I can find another tool that I can share with you soon. Thank you.